So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the DoBot Magician. It's a 3D arm, and I'm going to just give you my first impressions of it. And so the box, when you first get the box, I was pretty impressed right off the bat by how sturdy it is, how well put together it is, how well thought out the box, is designed. And it's designed for you to keep this box. It's not really designed for you to actually have it and throw it away. So this is why they have a handle on the box, and the way it's put together is almost like a suitcase. So when you first open it up, you're going to get all your 3D printing material right off the front. So you'll, on the left hand side, what you're looking at is the case for the filament and the 3D printing. So that's the kit for 3D printing, where you put the arm on there and the filament goes on there, and you'll have the extruder as well. So like these, other components come in the boxes. Everything is put in these black boxes here. This right here is the laser engraver, the pincer, and the pin that are attached. They attach directly to the head of the arm here. And the attachments are very easily put on just with the screw that you see at the front of the head. You just unscrew that and you put the attachment there. The weight of this is pretty strong and hefty, it's sturdy. So let's look at the software that we need to install. After unpacking the DoBot, the first thing you want to do is go here to the website and over here to the download center. Once you do that, you're going to be presented with these downloads here. But the main thing you're going to want to download before you even do any of this is download the actual application that you'll use to actually make this thing work a lot faster. So I'm going to go here to the additional downloads. When I go there, I'll be presented with this download center, and here is the application I want to download. Right now I'm at Magician Studio version 1.7.1. So I'm going to go ahead and download and install that. So this is what I'm going to extract. Select this, extract all. And just extract it anywhere. You can delete it when you're done. So now I go ahead and double click this and run it. Run. And just install. Now what you're going to get is a couple of pop-ups here. First of all, this one obviously for Windows, and this one here is you are going to read through the privacy policies and make sure you know what you're agreeing to, and then hit next. And you just click next here because there's information that's going to pop up here after you're done. And then you go ahead and choose the basic information there is for fine. Default information is fine. So I'm going to pause it while it completes its process. Okay, so this driver is going to pop up here, and it's fine. You go ahead and click install on this, and it's going to say pre-installed in advance. Driver is successfully pre-installed in advance. I'm going to click OK, and this won't close. You just go ahead and close that. Once you're done with that, you can go ahead and click next, and it's going to accept this. Hit next and finish, and then this one will say next, and that's going to go straight to finish. So now that the DoBot Studio has been installed, and I've gone ahead and turned on or plugged in my DoBot into the USB port and into the power supply, let's look how easy this thing is to actually get started. So I'm going to go to my programs, and I'm going to go ahead and type in DoBot Studio. Here it is. So I'm going to click on Allow so it can have access to the network. And now this is the interface that pops up here. First and foremost, they're going to give you some instructions on how to connect this to the USB, but we all should know how to connect things to the USB. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. And right now you see up here on the left hand side that it's not actually connected. You'll see these two things come together once it's connected. So one of the things you want to look out for, if you have, let's say like 12 USB ports or something like that. I have a few USB ports. If you have a lot of different USB ports and you plug it in and it doesn't allow you to connect here, it's probably a good idea to go ahead and change the USB port, because sometimes the USB port is not getting enough energy or whatever. So just change the USB port and it'll work right off the bat. And once you click on connect, you'll see the little thing there shows disconnect once it is connected. But if it's just sitting there at connect and it's really not moving, then you know that there's something up with the USB port. Most likely it's not the device itself. Let me give you guys a view of the robot arm with the camera. All right, so we have the robot arm right there in view, and I just want to show you how easy this thing is to work. First of all, the application starts up with a few very simple user interface, icons that is clear for exactly what you want. And if you have some other applications or some other things that you want to add here, HTML stuff, JavaScript frameworks, you can actually add that here and save your work there, or even have some pre-made, processes here to be able to run on the ARM itself. But I just want to show you guys how quick this thing is to get started. First of all, I'm going to show you the blocky one. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this blocky. And it's going to tell you right off the bat, as soon as you click it, it's going to tell you exactly how to get this started, how to get it working. But just
the stepper motors on the
visual,
ARM will do all the rest of the work for you.
Interface.
Here you're looking at the 3 items that was inside of that kit, including on the right-hand side, the extruder, and on the left-hand side, the air compressor, sucker sort of thing. It can pick up things. So now here you're looking at the ARM,
and I'm gonna just drag that over here.
And what I'm not pulling out everything because there's so much that comes with this. So really, what comes with this in that black box that you saw, it's going to be every attachment that you have for this ARM. You have the laser engraver, and you have the pinchers, and you have the pin that comes along with it as well.
And it moves all the way to the 300th position. Adjust that. And one of the things you want to be aware of, now as I go to 300, it has its limits. In order for me to pretty much know its limits, what I can do is I can say, okay, let me check and see what the limit of this thing is. And I can manually adjust this by going plus in the Y, or let's say in the X. Just keep pushing in the X, and I can see it changing up here. And I'm going to keep pushing in the X. Now I want to show you something. If I keep pushing in the X all the way, you'll notice now I'm getting these alarms, meaning it's pushed past its limit. So I'm going to say 339 is past its limit. So what I can literally do is go backwards in the X, and now you see those alarms, those triggers stop. So these triggers you want to look out for so you can know whether you went past the limit. Now, what you also want to do is jot this number down so you know that that's the limit forward from 300, 0. So what I can then do is check out what the opposite, limit is on the x-axis. And if you really want to think about this, the x-axis is forward and back. So basically what we're looking at is something like this. Okay, so as I go forward in the x, I can say that's 300. And as I go back, now, this center port right here, this is close to the center of the device itself. Let me give you an example. If I were to go try to say, okay, 0, right, and then I'm going to run that, you're going to see it's pushing back, and it goes all the way back to 0. However, if I were to turn it to a particular position, 0 would give me some errors. So you got to be aware that sometimes it depends on whether you're at the home position or not. And to ensure that you're in the home position, you want to go ahead and click on this home button right here. And what it's going to do, it's going to go ahead and rotate. It'll do a full rotation to the left, full rotation to the right, and then it's going to go ahead and find its home position. And what you're looking at is adjusting from all the different angles, and it'll find the center part, and then the height. And once you hear that beep, you know you have the home position.
So after my home position, then I can go ahead and set, okay, I know that that's 300, right? And that was the extent of that. So now you see the home position here is not necessarily at 300. You see that the Z is at -8 and the Y is at 0, but basically the Z is not actually at 0. It's at -8. And the X right now is at 269. And if I wanted to say, okay, I'm going to bring this to 0, I want to bring X back to 0, meaning I am going to go on the X-axis back to the origin of the device itself. I can go ahead and click on that and hit play. And now you can see that it's actually moving back to 0. I get an error at 0, as you can see. It's a quick error because there's some sort of pullback that it's giving. For a second, it goes a little bit too far when it's going back to 0. So maybe I won't go exactly to 0. Maybe I'll just push it at 10 and then hit play and then have it go to 10. But 10 is basically, you know, that's on the device itself. So you want to fool around with these numbers and see what it gives you. And then you can just go ahead and start adding some more logic here. So let's say if I wanted it to go to, home, and I'm just going to say home is at 100. And then from here, let's say I want it to delay in seconds for, let's say, like 5 seconds. And once it delays 5 seconds, now I want it to go to 300. And then from 300, I want it to go on the Z-axis. So Z-axis is going to be up and down, as we can see here. The Z-axis is up and down. So I'm going to go in the negative Z-axis. Now, how far down do I want this to go? As you can see, I have this pad down there. So I can actually detect how far I want this to go down simply by connecting, just utilizing these buttons here. So I'm going to say on a negative Z. But first, let me go out to, I'm going to go out to about 300. So I'm just holding that button down. Actually, I'm going to go out to 248. So let me change this to 248. And now I'm going to go down on the Z. So click on that Z, go down on the Z. And I'm looking at exactly where it is. And I'm touching that piece right there. And I can see that that Z is negative 115, 115, and I'm going to put that in the negative category. Now I have myself a pretty simple, you know, pattern going on here. And I'm just going to send it right back to home. So there's the issue. Once it starts to go back home, you saw how I didn't have any room back there. So once you start sending it home, you should probably have it in a different position so that way it won't start spinning around, number one. Number two, when I'm not doing this video, I have, you know, it would have more space. So you really want to make sure you have more space on this thing when you're actually utilizing it, you know, when you're actually making it do something. All right, so now that I have that set, now I can go ahead and run this. I'm just going to go ahead and hit play, and we're going to see these things take place. It goes to the first one. It's going to wait 5 seconds. And then it's going to go down to that second one. Perfect. And that's how easy this thing is to run. But I'm going to show you guys something that's even more cool about this thing. This is interesting. You can do a lot with this. And when you're done with this, so let's say you want to save this right here. You can go ahead and hit save and save it wherever you want. Share it with friends or whatever, you know, when you're working on a project or something like that. It can also hook up to the Arduino. It also works with Python. It also works with C++. It also works with C#. So there's an API that you can get, and they allow you to download this API off the website. When I go over here, you can see right now I'm downloading. This is the Magician Studio that we just downloaded. However, if you go to the script model or the Industry 4.0 education or the developmental protocols, you'll be able to get those APIs. And there's also a manual, production manual that you can get here. Product manual. You can get the product manual as soon as it loads. product manual that you can get. Just click download. It's a PDF. It tells you everything you need to know. So let's get to adding something onto this thing, like let's say like the pencil. Let's try the pencil out. So the way we do this, let me first of all, I'm going to bring this back up, and I'm going to go into Z, and I'm going to go to positive Z. And then I'm going to go in the X, and then left and right will be the Y. Okay, so I'm only doing it that way so you can see exactly what I'm going to add on to this thing. So the attachments for this, as I showed earlier, there's the laser attachment, there's the 3D printing attachment, there's the pen attachment, and there's a suction attachment, there's a pincer attachment, there's a ton of attachments, and that's just the ones that came with this one right here. And there's a lot of other things that you can get with this thing. Now, the attachments are put on with so much ease. Basically, there's a little knob at the bottom that you're just going to screw down, and if I wanted to move this manually, so let's say I wanted to adjust it manually, so I moved it over here so you can kind of see, but let's say if I wanted to adjust this manually, there's a lock button that you have up here at the top. Let me see if you can see that. Okay, so there's a lock button up here at the very top right there, and I'm going to click on that and hold it, and now I can move it in any direction I want and then release the lock button. So there's the lock button here. There's a ton of attachment ports that you have here, a ton of attachment ports in the back, but I'm not going into details with all that and the stepper motors and stuff like that. I just want you to know how to get this thing started, that it's so easy to get started, and it's, you know, it's precise. So right here I have the pen, and basically all I need to do is take this attachment part here and put it into that slot, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tighten that bottom part down there. There we go. I don't tighten it too hard, just to make sure. I just make sure it's not loose. From there, I can pretty much take this pen bottom part off here, and now I have this attachment with the pen. Now, I'm not going to use the pen with this interface here. I'm going to use the pen in another way by going to exit. I'm going to exit this one here. Now, I could go to write and draw using the pen and laser. So if I do that, what you're going to see is that it's giving me this interface, and it's telling me exactly how to do this with the pen. So first of all, they tell me how to install the pen. Okay. Then they inform me that you need to change it to the pen setting. And all of this stuff is really interesting. So really, I can go to insert an image, or I can enter text, and it will print it out. So let's see exactly how that works. So as that intro tutorial shows, first of all, you set this to pen, which is already set to pen. Once you set that to pen, you can now go ahead and go to input text or input a shape or something like that. So I'm just going to go input text, and I'm just going to say hello world. I'm just say hello. I don't want to print out too much, just so you can get the idea. All right, so I'm gonna get a sheet of paper down here, and I'm just gonna set this paper down here so it doesn't move. And now what I need to do, I need to set the Z offset. So first I'm going to click on the unlock, and I'm gonna bring it down to where the paper is. And then I'm going to leave it there, and then I'm going to go back to the system here, and I'm going to click Auto Z. Okay, so now that I have hello here, I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And now you'll see hello pop up here, right? I can actually resize this if I wanted to. And I clicked it twice, so there's 2 there. I can drag this around. right click, I can delete it, but I have two there. Even if I were to take this and delete that and click OK here, it's still typed here. And now from there, I'm going to click Auto Z, and now it should be ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and start this, and let me make sure that you have a good view of that. Okay. And there you have it. It typed hello, just like what I have written there. Now, if you notice, what happened was I did this where it was capital H, capital E, LLO, and that's exactly what this thing, well, attempted to do as much as possible. So, but you can change all of these styles and stuff like that. If I were to just click on this, as you can see now, this one looks a little bit different. I can remove this one here by selecting it, right-clicking it, and deleting it, and dragging this up here, and then having it print that version. So I'm just going to put that there. Now I have to go ahead and hit play, because I've already done the Auto Z, so it knows exactly where the ground is. Awesome. And there it is. Let me see. And there it is. It's printed just by us typing there. Now, this is just us getting started with it, you know, just fooling around, not really trying to do anything too impressive. But as you can see, the device is actually very easy to get going. As a matter of fact, you can even train it to a large extent. If I were to just go ahead and push on the shape and do the exact same thing, everything would work just as fine. If I were to go back to here, as you can see, I have this ability to teach it how to do something by physically using my hands and telling it how to do it. I can use script, which is in Python. I can use the 3D printing. I can use the laser engraving. I can even use the mouse to move it around. Let me quickly give you an example of that. If I click on this mouse one, and now once I hit V on the keyboard, my mouse is now moving it, as you can see. So I'm manually moving this thing with my mouse, which is pretty awesome. Now, the only thing you have to be aware of this part is that you can really snap this thing out of position. I'm hitting V to get back out of that mode, but you can snap this thing in the wrong position. You can actually injure it or damage it by having it snap up against itself. And so you want to be careful of the limits on this thing. So when you're doing the mouse, make sure that you are moving it extremely slow. Make sure you are deliberately moving it in a particular position. And what I find is that you can use the mouse technique to be able to check to see where X, Y, and Z is, where you want something to be, or the manual position, probably even better than this. So this is just actually more of a gimmicky thing, because it's not as precise as all the other stuff. I'm sure, but many people can find a use for it. But it's pretty cool that it can do that. And go to exit here. And that's basically it for this video. What I will suggest to you is to understand that this device right here, it's high quality, it's user friendly. The download process for the application was straightforward. There was no problems. I've actually installed it like 4 times already on 4 different machines. I've tried all of the elements here. I've actually also tried the API inside of Visual Studio. I've tried the Python. I haven't really seen any errors pop up, like some strange thing from the application or anything like that. No, I'm telling you right now, if you were to buy this thing, you'd be extremely happy with it. And I'm sure there are other companies that make these out there, but I will tell you that the quality on this and the lack of hassle that I have for this, I'll give you an example. Go ahead and buy a 3D printer one day. You'll find that you'll spend $2,000 on a 3D printer and you find yourself fixing on it. You find yourself adding to it, or something broken, or something got stuck. With this arm, there is none of that. You spend enough money on this arm, and I think this one was about $1,700. There are some that's $300. You can go to the web page. You can see how much they charge. They even give you these to download. These are free demos that you can download. But if I were to go to the basic model, I'm not even sure if they even have the. Okay, so this one's $1,300. But the one that I have is about $1,700 or $1,800 because it comes with all of those other things. It comes with a 3D printing kit. It comes with the laser engraver, which is another huge advantage, that this thing has all these different attachments. It comes with the pincer. It comes with all the main attachments to the sucker to be able to pick up paper and all that sort of stuff. So it comes with all that. So that's why you're paying the extra money. But if you just want this, and I think it comes with it comes with the gripper and the 3D printing kit, which is pretty cool. So that's $1,399, and I will tell you it is completely worth buying if you can save the money. If you are interested in these things, if you have a project that you want to do, or you want to use it for a classroom or for a team of people to do something, it's completely reliable. Now, maybe in about a month, I'll be calling you back or coming back online and saying, hey, the thing exploded, or it went out and attacked a whole bunch of people. It became sentient and then started rampaging over the land. But as far as it goes right now, it hasn't done any of that. It's worked exactly like I envision it to work. Also, another thing you want to keep in mind is it's going to work with Arduino. It's going to work with C++. And by the way, they give you the examples and they give you the API. They made this so straightforward, so user-friendly that you can't deny that the price was worth it. Now, I haven't had to use the customer service because the product is so right. There's zero problems. I mean, I guess I can call customer service just to call them and complain about how good of a job they did, but maybe for some other time. I don't have time to do that right now. So what I'm suggesting to you guys is if you are interested in a robot arm, while you could buy a cheaper one, I will let you know right now that this one right here has zero problems. It's so user-friendly. It is straightforward. Now, I do have another one here that I'm going to be trying out later, and it is a cheaper one, and I'll put the video up on that one here, and that one's called the DoBot. And so that's a much more affordable version of the robot arm. It doesn't have all the bells and whistles as this one does, but again, it's cheaper. So we'll see how that one comes out, if it's just as good as an experience. But you really can't beat the experience that you get with this DoBot. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below, and I'll be putting up some more videos. I'll show you guys how I can integrate this with the Arduino, integrate it with Visual Studio, integrate it with C++ and C#, integrate it with Unity. I can integrate this with Word and with PowerPoint and Excel. And so there's a ton of things you can do with this. So let's pretend like you have an Excel spreadsheet that you can pretty much integrate the Excel spreadsheet into the robot arm, into the Arduino, which is pretty interesting too. So stay tuned, and there'll be a lot more videos coming in regards to this, and I'll see you guys next time. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you hit that notification bell, and leave all your comment sections in the comment section below. All right, bye.